Okay, here we are. Alt.nerd.obsessive. Worst episode ever.
Hey everybody, welcome to Worst Episode Ever, a podcast for people who love The Simpsons, by people who love The Simpsons, about how much we hate The Simpsons. We're here trying to find which is the worst episode ever. And as always, my name is Dan.
And as always, my name is Jack.
And today we are back with another episode. We're in November. Actually, we were in November last week, but we're in November still.
November.
We haven't left November
November
yet.
lasts almost.
Yeah, and nothing lasts forever, even November. Parentheses reigns. So today we're watching an episode from season 14, I believe it is. It
sure?
is called. It is. It's season 14, episode 11, and it's called Barting Over. Originally, it aired in February of 2003. Jack, have you seen this one?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know what it's about. I don't know.
I don't really know what it's about either. I know Tony Hawk and Blink-182
Yes,
are in
I've seen it.
I think.
Yeah, now I know.
And I remember it being advertised when I was done with the show. Like, this one aired, if not right after The Great Louse Detective, it aired like
2003.
a few weeks after.
So was this also after your intense love of Blink-182, which is not a joke?
I don't know. Well,
you were
it
a
was fairly
huge
intense.
Blink-182 fan in high school.
Yes.
2003, we'd probably be freshmen.
We were freshmen in college. Yeah.
So was this post Blink-182 as well?
This was their, what was it? Their self-titled, like, more serious album had come
It wasn't
out.
Take Off Your Pants and Jacket?
No, it was not that one, which I had the buttons for Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, the logo from the album, and I wore them on my senior sweater
I did
in high
not
school.
get the joke of the album title until 2 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, it's a joke. No, I get jokes. I get jokes.
All right, so they had a self-serious debut.
Yeah, I mean, we can save this for my Blink-182
Was it like
cast.
what's his face? Neil Sedaka. He did the sad piano version of Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. Do they have like a sad piano version of What's My Age Again?
They don't, but Neil Sedaka was on it. Just singing like, I'm in Blink-182. I don't know why he was singing like the guy from Blink-182.
Yeah, he's a professional.
You know, it's just, it is what it is. But hey, we don't need to talk about Blink-182 yet. We'll save that for after we actually watch this episode.
Or Sedaka, our Sedakcast.
That's coming up in 2016, so stay tuned for that. So I know
January. Podcast is coming out February.
all the Neil Sedaka fans are really like losing their shit right now. They're certainly not Wikipediaing who is Neil
I'm catering
Sedaka.
to that center of the Venn diagram of people who like post-classic Simpsons podcast and Neil Sedaka.
And podcasts with wacky voices
that's our
and
key demo.
nonsense. Yeah, that's our key demo, all right.
How's it going, Earl?
That's why our downloads are so terrific. Anyway, we're going to be watching Barting Over. If you haven't watched it, you can do so on simpsonsworld.com. This episode is also available on DVD, so maybe you can watch it that way, or it should be available streaming somewhere else if you know how to get those things. Just Google around, Barting Over, you'll find it. And this is a great time to remind you about Amazon. Our Amazon click-through, go to wepodcast.com. That's our website, weepodcast.com. Click our Amazon links and banners. We get a small portion of what you buy, and that helps keep the show free. And guys, Christmas fast approaching.
Yeah, Christmas season,
Christmas
shopping season.
If you buy Thanksgiving gifts, do them through Amazon.
Please, yeah, this is apparently all the podcasts and stuff that use Amazon. This is like,
But you shouldn't listen to any other podcast. This is the only one you need.
But this is apparently like this is where most of the money is made, like just like Macy's and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
right.
So we would really appreciate it. We were literally just talking right before we were recording about how bad our audio equipment is and how we really need to get some some new stuff. So please, if you're gonna do some Christmas shopping online on Amazon, please just take that extra step, do it through here because. We're literally running hamster wheels to power our mics at this
yes.
point.
And if you're an eccentric millionaire or something and you want to buy us audio equipment, email us. We're into that.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll take charity. It's totally fine.
We have, our dignity is gone.
No, we don't have any. Remember Homerverse Dignity? That's us.
I
sure do, Jack. Here I am.
See, no dignity.
Let's take a break and watch Barting Over.
That boy's about as safe living with you as a crawdad in a gumbo shack. Bart Simpson, I declare you emancipated. Further, I hereby garnish Homer's wages until Bart is fully repaid.
Garnish.
So, that was Barting Over.
My goodness. I would like to Bart it over I don't even know what I'm saying.
That episode could have barred it over from scratch.
I didn't want to watch it.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay. Before we get into it, we've got a guest, which we failed to mention in the introduction. We wanted to surprise you if you didn't read the show notes. Surprise!
It's Hemus. Hey, I'm here for the whole podcast.
It's just Hemus.
That's it.
Wait. Wait.
My
no
airplane
listeners.
is here.
We have no more listeners. That was it. The last one was like, that's enough. 57 chances they gave us. We blew it. No, our guest today is Gabe Pullum. How's it going, Gabe?
Hello, it's going well.
Gabe is a writer for an animated television show that will go unnamed.
It has nothing to do with The Simpsons.
It has nothing to do with The Simpsons, and it's not gargoyles. I'll say that.
It's also not gargoyles.
Okay.
When did gargoyles stop running?
Many years ago. In the 90s, for sure.
Gabe was writing for gargoyles when he was 6 years old.
It's been a long run. A long, good run.
So, Gabe, in addition to writing for a show that's not The Simpsons, you're a Simpsons fan.
Yes.
Actually, you're a regular on my trivia team at Brooklyn Simpsons
Regular
Trivia.
on the losing trivia
On the
team.
losing trivia team, yeah. Although I would say at this point, now that the Dans are off the team and Dan's brother doesn't really come too much, I would say you're probably our strongest player.
All right, that's sweet of you to say.
yeah.
That's sweet of you to say.
Get more of the answers.
All right, so we're going to play some trivia right now.
No.
What is Bart's dad's name?
Yes.
It's Homer.
Oh. Well, we think it's Homer. I mean, Marge might have some
knows?
Right.
secrets.
She fucked around.
What other videotapes are in that box? That sounded kind of dirty. I meant for the episode.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Okay.
No, she clearly had sex with other men. They videotaped
Right.
it and then stored the tapes up. That's clearly what you were saying.
I mean, where did you keep your VHS tapes? It was always in my house, like, Mom, I want to watch Independence Day. All right.
Squish.
Here it is. It's all form.
Click. It was a Top Deck VCR.
Yeah.
Click. Ding. Play. Vagina closed.
Oh,
That's what it sounds like.
poor Beffrey.
You were there. She gave birth to twins. It was you and a copy of Ghostbusters 2.
That's right. That's why I have such a fondness for that
Ghostbusters
movie.
2 is older by 7 minutes. Right?
Yes, that's right.
So, Gabe, your Simpsons profile. Let's get your Simpsons profile. So, do you still watch the show?
I do not know.
Okay. When did you stop watching?
I stopped watching probably around the season when this episode aired,
Season
which was what,
14?
14?
Yeah, that was 14, so that's when I stopped watching.
Yeah, it's
also.
pretty much like all through high school. I watched pretty religiously, but after that, like
And then
college,
you went to
it's
college,
kind of.
and then you were too cool for The Simpsons. You started
Well, it wasn't like
smoking
that.
and
Well,
talking
yeah.
communism.
But also like like living in a dorm when you don't have a TV, and it's
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah, that's kinda what did it.
And by that point, it was kind of like I didn't really feel like I was missing that much anyway.
Like, you didn't want to seek it out.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, I can't watch it whenever I want.
That's funny.
Right.
The freshman year of college was like the dark ages for that was the year I stopped watching TV,
Mm-hmm.
and then I thought that was it. Which is a big deal because I watched so much TV before that.
Yeah.
And then my sophomore roommate Spencer, he had a TiVo, which at
Oh,
the time
damn.
was
Revolutionary.
Yeah, it was very rare.
I remember him
For-
explaining what TiVo
Yeah.
was to me, kind of, and I'm
And
like, whoa, okay.
and that brought me right back in because then Lost and Arrested Development
Right, all
all
those.
started
Yeah.
right up. And so I was back into TV maybe more than ever after that. But that one year was like the year I stopped watching television. It
Yeah.
was weird.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Super Bowl and I watched it was the episode of Alias after the Super Bowl. And I was like, what is this TV landscape? Who is this Jennifer Garner? What's going on?
I remember thinking like around that time like, oh, I guess I'm just one of those people that doesn't watch TV now. Like, I don't have a TV.
books.
Yeah, that lasted like a year and a half, and I was like, oh yeah,
Well, it's funny how we're saying, like, oh, we went to college and didn't have TV, and, like, that's not a problem
Yeah, no.
anymore. Like,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure
like, people
students
don't have
just watch on
TVs
their
and watch
phones.
everything. Yeah, they
Yeah.
watch phones and video.
Man,
Video machines? That's what I was going to say. I meant computers.
so Gabe, what's your
Yes.
favorite seasons?
I am a fan of the later seasons, by which I mean like 7 and 8.
Okay. So later relative
Right.
to the 90s,
Exactly,
I guess.
So you're a
exactly.
little not sour, but not as enamored with like season 3, season 4.
I like those
the
just fine. I
cruder
kind of
ones.
I like later ones where they start getting a little kind of wackier, but not like crossing that wacky invisible barrier where it starts getting bad wacky.
You like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon skateboard fight.
With Tony Hawk. Hey guys, it's Tony Hawk.
Do you have a favorite episode?
I do. It's from season 7, Marge Be Not Proud, the second Christmas episode.
Excellent episode. A mainstay of the holiday season in my household.
Capiche.
By which I mean, since my wife doesn't watch The Simpsons, I mean, I watch
You watch it by yourself.
alone. I wish I had a son who bought me a picture.
Alright, so now that we've got to talk a little bit about some good Simpsons, let's talk about this episode.
Spoilers, we didn't like it.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't hate it, to be honest. I know we're not there yet,
I
but
didn't hate it. It was just.
this episode was the pinnacle of just like bland.
Yeah, like I can see why this
Simpsons.
season is in that general area where people stopped watching because it's just like it seemed like they just didn't give a fuck anymore.
Well, turning out episodes like this, it's just like this was the bare minimum of effort was there to create a Simpsons episode. So I wasn't gonna go out of my way to continue watching this show.
All right, so where's the episode begin? Did you want to talk about the chalkboard gag?
Yeah, let's talk about it real
I
quick.
saw you write something down.
It was pretty different for a chalkboard gag. It's probably in the deleted scenes. Bart comes out and I think he just wrote, "I will not." He wrote that over and over again and never filled in what he will not do, and then just takes an axe out and just like hacks up the chalkboard.
It was a little much, and it went on for a while.
Interesting. This episode was the 300th episode. We should point that out.
Oh, maybe that's why they did it.
I guess.
Like as a comment, like, oh, we've done so many of these gags, like we don't want to do another one.
Even though this 300th episode will, by the end of the run, probably be the midway point of the series.
They make a meta reference to it late in the episode where Marge's like, "How many times has Homer gotten into this mess?" And she goes, "By my count, 300."
Yeah,
she's like, "Isn't more like 302?" Now, what is that referencing? So was there really the production order screwed up?
This was the 302nd episode that aired, but I think it was the 300th produced. So they were saying it was the 300th episode, even though it was really 302.
But how could episodes air that hadn't been produced?
Did they air 2 episodes that hadn't been made yet? They went into the future.
Murdoch invented time travel. No, I think they produce all. They move the order around.
Oh, I see. So there was there was 2 more that were made after that in that season.
But they aired this one before.
But they
Gotcha. Okay.
And I think I looked at the Wikipedia page. It said that Fox really wanted to air the 300th episode on a specific day in February of 2003. I guess sweeps, and they wanted it to be like we got guest stars, so of course you get Tony Hawk and Blink-182, and like that's the making of the
huge stars of 2003. That's so sad.
Well, yeah, 2003 was a weird time. If you're a young
wasn't this a little bit past like peak Tony Hawk though? Like wasn't like that like a few years earlier?
He peaked on 9/11, and then it was just downhill from there. People were just like, there's too much like going on in the world. I can't really give that much of a shit.
I don't care about skateboarding anymore. Oh, we did 900.
See, now you had all the Warhawks.
Oh, right.
2003, we had the big protests for the Iraq War and stuff. So now you can't be a Warhawk. You can't be a Tony Hawk.
No, you couldn't be. All the Hawks were endangered that year.
Especially real Hawks.
Especially
literally endangered.
Yeah, who have gone extinct at this point. But yeah, the 300th episode. So there you go. What a way to remember it by having Tony Hawk come by.
Besides those big quote-unquote big guest stars, this really wasn't that eventful. I mean, eventually I guess you gotta stop making a big deal out of your 100th episode or whatever when it's...
It kind of was.
Yes.
Well, look at it this way. The 100th episode was the one where Skinner gets fired.
Yeah,
that wasn't really
I remember
like
watching that in my
big
grandma's
episode.
kitchen. That was a big deal. They also showed, I think, the pilot or Bart. They showed Bart the Genius before it,
which was also not really the first episode.
Not the pilot. Yeah. They really like fucking with the production order.
They loved fucking with the
I wonder if they
timeline.
just call Lord Michaels in right before air, and he goes and he just shuffles around all the production.
I don't think this episode's working.
So, before we do a scene by scene, I guess we should do the old recap of the plot. What I like to call for short, the plot recap.
Oh,
so
that shortened it down by a few words.
It begins with a dream sequence by Lisa where she's winning a Kennedy Center honor. But Marge wakes her up because they're spring cleaning. While they're spring cleaning, they find an old video that apparently Bart was a baby actor, starred in a very famous run of baby commercials. Baby Stink Breath he was, kind of like the Gerber baby. And he was wondering where all the money, the profits were from being a baby star, and they find out Homer had spent it all in a generic, non-specific way.
Yeah, exactly.
So Bart gets very upset and gets legally emancipated, and that's the core here. Is it's Bart gets legally emancipated, which is in the news a lot at this point. I think there were a few non-celebrities that were doing it. Drew Barrymore had done it in the 80s.
The movie North had come out 8 years prior.
So, is that what North is about?
Oh, yeah.
You never seen North?
No, I thought it was about...
It's a terrible movie,
I assumed it was
but I've seen it many, many times.
Wait. This is 100% serious. I always assumed it was like a biopic about Oliver North.
Oh, no.
Are you kidding?
No,
The kids movie with Elijah Wood?
I've never seen it.
You don't even know anything
Rob
about
Reiner
it?
directed it, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a serious movie about Oliver North
No.
and like the Iran Contra
No,
scandal.
it is a movie about a kid who leaves his parents and travels the world finding new parents and like trying them out.
And then he becomes Oliver North?
No,
And-
spoiler alert. I'm just going to spoil the movie.
Yeah, that's fine.
The end is a dream, literally. The end of the movie is, it was all a dream, and we go home.
Good.
And Bruce Willis is the Easter Bunny.
Really?
Wait, really?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah.
Wait, so who plays Oliver North?
There's
There's
no
nothing.
Oliver North.
Is there an Oliver North movie not called North, like called Oliver?
called-
Is
called
it
South.
Is the Oliver
Oliver was the
exclamation
musical
point?
version of Oliver Twist.
So there's no Oliver North movie ever?
Oliver and Company was an Oliver Twist movie.
Did North come out
Oliver North
right
movie.
around the time of like Nixon and JFK?
Maybe?
JFK came out in 92.
Like 95, 96.
I
North
always,
was
I
95,
always
96.
grouped it in with those. Isn't this the movie too that Ebert famously hated?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really, I hated this movie. Yeah.
I always assumed he really hated an Oliver North biopic. That's why I didn't watch the movie, because he really didn't seem to like it.
Do you know what this means? We're gonna have to do a sync points for North.
For North?
For North. I would love for you to watch it for the first time, and we'll record your reactions.
I wish I would.
Because
It would have been
you will
funnier if
probably
you
like it.
It would have been funny if you recorded it with me
Just
going
thinking
into it
it's
thinking it
Oliver
was going to
North.
like open up in Nicaragua or something.
Well, we won't. Let's not tell you anything else about it. Like, there's lots of people you like in the movie.
Bruce Willis is in it. The
Bruce
Easter
Willis is
Bunny's
in
in
it.
it. I'm
Elijah
sold.
Wood.
Remember
in
it. Is Dan Aykroyd in it? I kind of remember
Dan
him.
Aykroyd's
like,
in it. All right, let's just tell you who's in it. John Lovitz is in it.
This sounds great. It's like a Saturday
Julia
Night movie.
Louis-Dreyfus and Jason Alexander play
Is it
his
a comedy?
parents. It's supposed to be.
So what you're saying is it's not about Oliver North.
No, not even a little
All
bit.
right, so Oliver's not about Oliver North. North's not about. There's no
Nothing's
movie
about
about
Oliver.
Oliver North.
I don't think Oliver North has had a movie yet.
Man,
Maybe Jack's
HBO
movies
or
will put one
something.
out.
Jack's movies. So Bart gets emancipated legally from Judge Harm, and he moves into a loft in like a seedy part of the city. Tony Hawk lives above him, where he has like a big party loft, and Blink-182 is there. And it's
Sexy
just,
party loft for Tony Hawk.
Constant partying, and Bart loves it, and Homer misses him or is still mad at him at the same time. So Homer basically challenges Tony Hawk to a skateboard contest, but it's rigged. They're both in on it. They both want Homer to win so that he can win back Bart's love, I guess. And,
Sort of,
And
yeah.
he does. And then Bart comes home, and I feel like I'm missing a lot of stuff. I didn't take a lot of notes this week because there's just nothing. It's just kind of there.
You're
Well,
kidding.
it felt like it hadn't started even when it was over. It's kind of like, is this the end?
completely agree with that
Yeah.
sentiment. Yes. Let's just talk.
Yeah,
just
I
in
almost,
general
I
about the
almost would
episode.
like. I almost feel like this could have worked as a movie plot. Like if you were doing Simpsons movie, Bart gets emancipated, and that's kind of one of the
It
plots.
could. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being a thing. But this specific episode, like the Bart emancipation stuff, comes in kind of late in the second act. Well, it's like the start of the second act, but they don't really do anything with it. It's just now Bart's like hanging out with Tony Hawk
Right.
for 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, so that's my biggest issue. Besides, like the episode was so bland, but the story there's no meat on the storyboard.
No.
So you have two basic ideas you can run with this story, and you could probably do both. One, but what's Bart's life like alone? You know, it's Big basically. Tom Hanks and Big, and I thought they were sort of going with that because his apartment looks just like Tom Hanks. And he gets they're garnishing Homer's wages, so Bart has an income.
Right.
So Bart gets like an expensive TV, and he's in a big brick loft, and he's got like a basketball hoop, and it looked like Tom Hanks's place in Big.
Yeah.
So I thought, all right, so that's one way to do it, but they don't do anything else. Basically, he hooks up with Tony Hawk and stuff, but they don't really play with the concept. What would it be like if Bart lived on his own?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Because he just like at night he's alone and he sees a rat and he gets so scared and runs away and finds Tony Hawk and then it's just the Tony Hawk show.
Yeah, and that was like story progression for a second. It's like, oh man, I'm a baby, I miss home, and then
Yeah.
oh wait, there's this cool thing, and then it just kind of plateaus there.
Any Bart like learning a lesson or any kind of character stuff dies immediately.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like
So that's what I want to bring up my other thing. So the if anything, the stronger story you have is a Bart Homer conflict, and there's not really that many compared to like a Homer Lisa or a Homer Marge conflict episodes. I mean, obviously there's 600 episodes, so there's a few, but
Yeah.
compared to those, there's less because usually they get along, Homer and Bart. They're usually on the same side of a plot. but it's interesting to put those two against each other, but they don't do anything. It's basically just Homer's a really bad dad, and he wants Bart to come back. There's no more specific
Well, he kind of wants Bart to come back, but then it's just to keep moving the plot forward.
Think about a Lisa Homer. Like, there's different ways you can do a Lisa Homer conflict. Maybe it's an ideals thing, like Lisa the vegetarian, or like Homer being too oafish because Lisa's more erudite, like the future episode, Lisa's wedding, where she kind of embarrassed by her dad.
Right.
So like those are specific things that play from those two characters. Like you have Homer the character, you have Lisa the character, you butt heads. So you have Bart the character, you have Homer the character. There's dynamics you can play with there, but they don't. It's basically just Homer's a bad dad and Bart's not coming home.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Homer problems in this episode, but they do at least do... There's the one scene where he misses Bart and he has, like, the fake Bart that he's playing with in the backyard. That was, like, something, but I agree they don't do...
It's so generic.
It's very lip servicey to that whole subplot.
Yes, and it goes back and forth. I miss Bart, and then it's, when you come back, I'm gonna
kill you.
Stab you in your sleep.
Yeah, so how does Homer actually feel? We have no idea, and we don't,
it's just
learn anything here.
It's all over the place. There's no meat on the story bone. And those two plots, the Bart by himself, the big plot, and the Homer versus Bart, the character plot, that those two could have worked very well together, and they don't. They just kind of go through the motions.
Yeah. So we're down on the story of this episode, I think. Like the actual beats, the breakdown, it doesn't tie together.
That's why,
well.
like Gabe said, when it ended, it was like, oh, it's over.
That was it.
Yeah.
Also, so much of the interesting stuff, especially in the beginning, kind of happens off screen, where it's like talking about, oh, Homer spent all this money and like all these things that we'll just kind of tell you about, but you're not actually ever going to see it.
So we don't know what Homer spent the money on. It was just like, it's gone. Why would they do that? That's just
for an inciting incident. You'd think obviously you don't need to know, but it helps a lot.
But just for The Simpsons, this is a show that famously had these, like cutaway gags, basically invented it.
Think about when Homer lost the money in season 6 or whatever, when Patty and Selma had to lend him money.
With the pumpkin futures.
They have a whole scene, or a couple of scenes, where he invests in pumpkin futures.
Yeah.
And, they're soaring in October. I have a feeling it's going to peak in January. And he loses all the money. And that's a really silly way to lose the money.
Yeah.
Even something like that, just a token...
Right.
And if it was 10 years ago, so if Bart was a baby, you could make a joke about 1993. He invested in Newtons or something, PDAs.
Whatever.
Is that what they're called, PDAs?
Yeah.
Is that public display of affection?
It's both. It's both. Personal digital assistant is what I refer to it. So it starts with this Kennedy Center honors thing where Lisa is receiving an award. And obviously, we're like, okay, this is a dream, and it is. And Lisa wakes up, and it's just Marge waking her up and saying, oh, we gotta clean the house. It's like, okay, and then they're cleaning the house, and they find the videos, and that's kind of what leads to the whole Bart plot. Why wasn't the beginning of this episode Bart waking up, like Bart's dream? Maybe Bart being rich, or Bart doing whatever he wanted, because that's what happens later in the episode.
It has nothing to do with anything.
It's
basically just standard, Lisa has high dreams, and she lives, she's stuck in her...
Right, but Lisa,
does she do anything else in the episode though? Is this like her one moment?
She kind of supports Bart a little bit, so this is kind of her one moment.
You're right. This should have been a Bart dream.
Yeah, if this is a Bart episode, it should start with Bart.
Yeah, something that's related to him craving independence or something. And, that way the baby thing, the finding out that Homer lost all the money, was the final straw.
Mm-hmm. Right,
it wasn't
exactly.
Just, oh, you spent my money I didn't even know I had until 5 minutes ago. What? Out of here.
Yeah, that's exactly how it comes off in this episode. It's just like, I'm going to emancipate myself because of this money.
Yeah.
Not like all the strangling and like the horrible parenting for...
You're right. It should have been a final straw. It should have been maybe a series, a quick montage of just Bart's day, and they just keep cutting to breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Homer is just nagging him for every little thing, and Bart, it's just building and building, and then that final straw. Homer's like, that's it, go clean the garage, and then he finds the video.
But why use the video at all? Like, I feel like if you need Bart to be pissed off at Homer, why use that device to be like, oh, this something that happened a long time ago is something that's rearing its head again, and now I'm pissed off about it.
I guess because in a lot of those child emancipation things, wasn't it Macaulay Culkin who famously
Macaulay Culkin, Drew Barrymore,
Shirley Temple, or is she the first one that had that whole big thing?
Back in
maybe, yeah, that sounds about right. But I think it was always...
Jesus actually was the first one. He emancipated himself from Mary and Joseph.
He wanted with my real dad in the kingdom of heaven.
But what I mean is, like, show it. Like, instead of doing this old video, maybe have Bart, something happens and he's making a lot of money and Homer blows through it and then it's lost, and then start like that versus like
I agree with you, but I think they were trying to comment on this, like, it's child stars who do it, and Bart was the commercial in Perfect Strangers.
Would you have been thrown off if it started in medias res and like the episode opens where you have to do some mental math, but basically
there's no math.
But I'm saying if Bart was already a commercial star, like I Didn't Do It Boy, and the episode begins with him like 6 months into this run, and they just through a few lines of exposition, they're like, yeah, ever since you got discovered by Krusty in front of the deli or whatever, and you just by the end of the first scene, it's established Bart is now a current celebrity, and then you start the emancipation plot. Would that have thrown you off if they did too much work before, too much backstory?
I think it would have thrown me off personally. Yeah, I think that's you're starting too far away from the status quo.
I would be okay with that now. Maybe not season 14, but as that one, like we talk about experimenting storytelling. Why not?
Try something like that.
We can keep up. Yeah. If you start an episode with Bart already famous, we'll get it.
But that actually could have worked. You said this could have been a movie plot. That could have been something. I mean, we've already seen Bart get famous in the episode Bart Gets Famous. But if you got a movie plot where Bart does something to become super successful and Homer ruins the money, and then Bart emancipates himself, and we're looking at the whole family dynamic through this kind of rise and fall of Bart, that could be something.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool.
Because I like the idea of, like you said, showing all that stuff as opposed to just this video, but I think you need more time to do that justice. But so Marge wakes Lisa up, and they're like, "Wake up, Lisa! It's time to clean the house," which seems like, did you need to wake her up? Like, is this a planned day? It's just very. Why is this the start of this episode? I have no idea, but that's what they do. And they're in the garage, and there was a moment, I'm curious to see what you guys thought about this. Lisa finds an old book and starts reading from it, and the devil starts appearing
She starts reading from the book, and she's reading like
it's like a Necronomicon type of thing.
Yeah, she's
what did
like
you guys
reading
think of that
like
moment?
ancient Greek or Aramaic words. I loved it. I thought the animation was so cool. They usually do a great devil, and this like big muscular demon is like forming behind her like a genie.
Yeah,
I loved it. The music, the way it's formed behind her, the animation. I thought it was really fun.
And I appreciated that it was Mad Libs that distracted her.
Distracts her. That was perfect. You're right.
The demon disappears because right before, like she stops saying the spell.
Finish it.
Mad Libs.
Yeah, I think I liked it too. I can't kind of tell because it is one of those like this is completely fantastical type things, but there really are books like that where you can summon the devil.
It's called
the Bible. I don't know why.
So they find a tape, a VHS tape. It says Homer and Marge get dirty or something like that, and it looks like a sex tape. And we listen to the audio. Well, first Bart's like, "Yeah, let's watch this." Which, if I found a tape that said like Dad, Mom having sex, I'd probably
skip that.
Yeah, garbage, like right in the garbage.
Yeah,
I'd put that right back in Meffrey's vagina. I also store my movies there.
Oh, good. That's terrific. It's spacious. I don't know.
It's a wonderful woman.
Oh boy. By calling her Meffrey, it separates and it's become this fictional character.
Meffrey is not. That's
not my actual mother.
That's the mother of the character Dan Mulhall, the
right, who is the
host,
not the real me.
Yeah, exactly.
The character who kills people for fun.
Wait, that's not the real Dan?
Well, it's a mix.
Which one asks people to show their penis? You
know the answer to that one.
So they watch this. They find this video. It says Bart's sad, so Lisa wants to watch it. It's actually Bart's ad. Very, very cute Simpsons writers.
Yeah.
And it's Bart plays Baby Stink Breath. He was in a commercial for, what was it, like Listerine tabs for babies?
Something, give your baby good breath.
It was, this was also like really, really weird. This episode is so strangely put together.
It feels like a bunch of stoners wrote it. Like not real stoners, but like Hollywood stoners. Like like let's do a baby commercial, like fake stoners.
I think it's fine to have Bart be in a baby commercial. That's an interesting thing to do. Mm-hmm. The commercial, so he's Baby Stink Breath. It's for babies that have bad breath, which that's not really
assuming they eat baby food.
That's true. But it's just, and then the product in the commercial is this like it's like a nicotine patch that alters your baby's DNA.
But not their RNA.
But not their RNA.
Which is one of those hyper-specific jokes I like.
Right, that's fine, but that's a really weird product that Bart was
why would
pitchman for.
You're using this as an impetus for the whole plot of the divorcing parents and everything, so why wouldn't you make it more realistic?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, it's this crazy, weird, fantastical thing that'll alter your baby's DNA.
I feel like they were really just trying to go for that, and they were trying to go for that like Adult Swim, and obviously at the time Adult Swim wasn't that big, so they weren't intentionally doing this. But that type of silly humor, because there was a lot of weird jokes like that, a lot of quick jokes. They at one point Homer's crying in the street, and they transition and they put cones around him, and it says "man sobbing," and there's a weird Casablanca parody. I feel like they were intentionally doing all these like really quick, weird gags that were again very Family Guy, very Adult Swim. I guess that was just the tenor of what they were going for in 2003.
I guess, but I don't. It doesn't work here. Like, that just makes me be like, wait, what?
Yeah. Also, they show the commercial shows the bad breath in the form of a demon and like of a mist, which could have been effective, but it just made me think of the better looking
gag that we just saw.
Yeah,
that's true.
A misty demon.
Misty Demon.
Misty Demon.
My favorite superhero.
I was thinking like a stripper from Alabama. Yeah. Now coming to the stage, Misty Demon. Just bites the head off the guy sitting at the pole. That's my Misty
Demon. Alabama.
That's my Misty Demon comic. Then Bart goes, I don't remember ever being in any commercial, and then he eats a Butterfinger.
I actually like that.
I did kind of like that.
That's a fun meta joke.
But it is product placement for Butterfinger, I think.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
There was a moment where Lisa turns and laughs at him and be like, "You're a baby stink breath." And then I also like that Maggie does it too. Because Maggie never does that.
Yeah, it was adorable.
Yeah, that was just a cute, fun moment.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a gray and terrible episode.
Gray and terrible.
Anyway, okay, so Bart has a fight with Homer and Marge. We talked about that already. He's talking to Milhouse, and he's trying to figure out how he can get back at them. Do you guys remember this?
In a very weird, like, tree location.
Yes.
Like, kind of like, where is this like the end of Majora's Mask? Like, what is going on here? Where are we?
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that was kind of weird.
You see, like, the power plant in the background, and then it's just, like, empty and, like, one tree.
Yeah, it was just a hill with one tree. So Bart's talking to Milhouse, and Milhouse says, "Oh, whenever I need something from my parents, my mom goes to her lawyer, and that's how he gets the idea to get emancipated." But Milhouse says something to the effect of like, "Oh, it makes my dad cry more than normal." And I kind of liked Kirk walks out and he's like, "Hey, Milhouse, I got tickets to the circus," and he keeps like crying.
I like the line "makes my dad cry more than normal." I don't think I liked.
I don't think I needed to see it.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was a little much because it was too silly. It was like the fact that it was mid-sentence. I don't know. Again, this episode seemed to be going for that. So
that definitely
we had also just seen Nelson kind of randomly pop by, and it's like, okay, how many people are going to kind of just walk by this conversation?
I guess they were setting up.
One Tree Hill.
I guess they were setting up the very last scene where Nelson is there for no reason.
Where Nelson laughs at Homer's grave
because Nelson knows Homer and is glad he's dead.
Yeah. So Bart goes to the blue-haired lawyer, and he looks at the what do you call it, down in the
name of the directory.
The directory of the building.
The thing that in Die Hard that Bruce Willis looks at and tries to trick Alan Rickman, but doesn't.
Yep,
Alan Rickman's one step ahead.
He always is.
He was what, Bill something.
I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the first Die Hard.
I gotta stop doing that. It's so ingrained.
This is an episode of I Love Films.
This is an episode of We Two Are Talking.
We Two Talk You Two to
You talking.
You two to me to you too.
This is the podcast me and Dan do, talking about you talking you two to me, but it's only meant for Scott Aukerman and Adam Scott, the hosts of You Talking You Two to Me.
Yeah. So hey Scott and Scott. So I'm wearing my You Talking You Two to Me shirt.
Dan is wearing his. You gotta wear the t-shirts, man.
I got the t-shirts,
the fucking t-shirts. When are we gonna get some college girls on We Studios, bro?
We need to get some college.
We gotta get some college girls. We got Gabe.
Gabe
went to college. Jake didn't go to college. All right, so that was our episode of We Two Are Talking.
You talking you two. You talking you two to me to you too.
To you too.
So Bart goes to see the blue-haired lawyer, and he's looking through the directory, and it's all like joke names, and the final one was Hacky Joke and Done It.
Yeah.
Is it funny when you say like, "Oh, we know we're doing a hacky joke"?
I don't think it excuses it. Like I feel like
if it was a funnier, I didn't like Hacky Joke and Done It. If they would have come up with a funnier wordplay that was doing the same thing, I might have gone easier on. I might have even liked it. But I don't know. Hacky Joke and Done It didn't seem quite as
It's
good.
Yeah.
I've seen some funny fake lawyer names in my day. That wasn't one of them.
I feel like it could have been a great chance to just he knows where he's going. He goes to the blue lawyer's office, and there's some sort of funny slogan like breaking up families since whenever, or like
I feel like The Simpsons has
funny.
done so many great lawyer jokes in the past that jokey names has never quite. It's just not on the same caliber.
Yeah. No. Huh. It seemed like a missed opportunity. You're right.
And they had made fun in the, I think it's Bart the Fink, the one where Krusty fakes his own death. They made fun of jokes like that because his lawyers were Dewey, Cheatham, Howe, and Weiss.
Yeah.
Instead of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
That's much funnier.
Yeah, that's subverting what you expect. This is just kind of being like, wink, wink, look what we did.
That's funny that they're subverting the lame kind of jokes they would end up telling 6 years later.
Yeah, that's true. And then there was, I don't even remember what it was, I just know that I hated it, where Bart explains to the blue-haired lawyer what he wants to do, and he just makes like a noise, and he's like, and he's like, no, I'm calling my secretary, and it was just like,
oh no,
I didn't get that.
I didn't get it, and I was just like,
the joke was, Bart goes, I'd like to be legally emancipated, and it was supposed to be like such a shocking
thing. An act break, oh my god.
So the lawyer was like saying, oh my god, he was saying, he's like, you what? You want to do what? But he was actually calling his Asian secretary Yuwa.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's still kind of a stretch.
So the joke was terrible.
It's a huge stretch.
What's behind the joke is I think they really wanted it to be like, whoa, isn't it such a big deal that we're doing a legally emancipation thing? And then the joke being, actually, we do it all the time. It's whatever.
Yeah, it was just whatever it was. It was not great.
I want a divorce from my parents.
You are?
I said I want a divorce from my parents.
Yes, I heard you. I was just calling my secretary. You are? Give me the standard child divorcing parent form.
So that was the end of Act 1. Act 2, we come back. The family's at the dinner table. Bart he makes like an aggressive bust, I guess, of Homer's face in his mashed potatoes. And then
I was thinking that there's like eggs and mashed potatoes and maybe like a sausage in there.
What is Marge making for dinner?
She was going through some shit and she just kept baking and just like making food.
I can relate.
But yeah, Homer says something about, he looks to his bracelet, and he's wearing a WWJD bracelet. Yeah. And I don't remember what the context was.
Lisa's something, so he's like, it's like, what would Jesus do in this situation?
Yeah.
And Homer goes, Jesus? I thought that this was, what would Geppetto do?
What'd you guys think of that?
I love Dan Castellaneta's delivery. That made it work for me. I loved his shock, Jesus. But Geppetto was a very weird,
sort of a baffling choice.
Like you could do anything.
Geppetto starts with a G.
First of all, it doesn't start with a J. It starts with a G. Second of all, Geppetto from Pinocchio. Yeah. Like of all the J or even J sounding characters you can pick, why would they go with Geppetto? What does Homer want to do what Geppetto does?
I have no idea.
Is it related to the fact that Geppetto also wants a son and wants a real boy?
Okay, so that's really kind of what I was thinking.
Wait, let me think that through a second.
It's a huge stretch.
That's a huge
It's my brother, huge stretch. But no, because later on, Homer is playing with a fake Bart, and I was like, oh, that's kind of that's sort of like a Geppetto Pinocchio thing.
Some weird, subtle.
But it's super subtle and not really a joke.
I wrote this script when I was 18, 19, and it was about this guy who went to prison and came out of prison like a horrible monster, and it's a heist movie. Mm-hmm. And I put all these subtle references. Like
a literal monster?
No, he's just brutal killer. So, but I put in these subtle, to my mind, subtle references to Frankenstein to give it some thematic oomph. I was it was my first year of film, so I was like this, and I was putting all these Shelley references and Frankenstein references. Although in the first draft that I came up with this subject, so the second or third draft, I changed the warden's name to Frank Enstein.
I was gonna ask, is the guy's name Frank Enstein?
Because the warden was evil and he created the monster, so he was
right.
So I was like, oh, this is gold.
This is the modern Prometheus.
I think it might. Maybe in the because I rewrote it a few times and tried to make it better.
And it becomes a heist movie after this point?
Yeah.
All right.
But I think the warden's name in the final draft might still be Victor Franks or something.
Victor Franks.
That's not as bad as when I wrote a novel when I was 10, this sci-fi novel about a guy who kills people in in hologram chambers, which are like in the mall now. It's like the big entertainment.
Okay.
And he was like a real hologram killing people. And then I rewrote it when I was like 12 or 13, and this is when I was like a real novelist. Yeah. And I was like, I was deeper now. And I changed a lot of stuff, and I changed the killer's name. I wanted to, again, be thematic.
Yeah.
So I changed his name to Pete Pole, and he represented people and how people are mean and kill people. So the killer's name was Pete Pole.
Wait, say what? Pete?
Pete, P-E-T-E.
Like Peter
Pete
Pole.
Pole, P-U-L-L. It's Pete Pole. He was the killer, and he represented people.
I don't even know what to say to that. Pete Pole.
Pete Pole.
I like it.
I'm currently digitizing. Maybe I'll probably add a page or two.
I want to read all of these.
Yeah, I want to read Pete Pole.
I'll probably
The hologram killer.
Pete Pole.
I'll probably add it to my Use It in a Sentence blog, which is still images of
your sentence,
my
your spelling homework.
of my writing. Yeah, and people will probably make an appearance at some point.
All right, we look forward to that, as do all
It
of
took
us.
place in the vast future of 2011.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a chase scene in Al Gore Park.
Oh, God. So Bart decides he wants to emancipate himself. He takes Homer and Marge to court. It's Judge Constance Harm, Jane Kasmerick's character, that was very popular around this time.
Yeah, was this one of like the very
middle,
first time she showed up? Or
I feel like
around
They didn't even bother setting her up. It
No,
almost like
she was a regular at this point.
Yeah.
I think the season before was her first episode, and she'd been in a few episodes since. So she's kind of a known quantity.
But even
here.
I feel like I remember when they first introduced her, they kind of just snuck her in anyway. Like in the series, I mean, like it was just kind of like she sort of popped in, and it was like, oh, I guess she's a character now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So
since
every
I've
time
seen
I
that
ever
one.
saw her pop up, it's just kind of like, okay, I kind of remember when they were doing this a lot.
Yeah, I guess it was just because Malcolm in the Middle was on
Right.
right after
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Simpsons.
I wonder if she also, the studio was right there. They were on the same backlot, or she was just.
Do you think she knew she was being recorded for The Simpsons?
They were just following her around just like a boom pole.
They just edited it together, like what they did with Chef on South Park. When Isaac Hayes left.
Bart and Homer.
I'm going to emancipate you, Malcolm. I mean Bart.
They were really lucky that they got her saying Malcolm, I mean Bart.
Without that, they would never have been able to work it out. So anyway,
yeah. There is a joke I really liked here where they do the classic, a little dark. They do where did he touch you? You point to the doll where he touched you.
Yeah.
The backstory is dark, but they don't say anything like that. They just say point where he hurt you the most or whatever, and he pulls the pockets out of the doll.
well, he says show on the doll where Homer took the money from you.
Yeah, exactly.
And he pulls the pockets
so
out.
the pedophile child touching stuff's not as said, so it doesn't really ruin the joke. I like that. I thought it was a clever joke to do the doll with the pockets out.
So I hated it. I'm surprised that you liked it that much. Actually.
Yeah, I just thought it was a.
You stupid moron.
Again, like you were saying with the Dewey, Cheatham, Howe, and Weiss, I think that's
Yeah.
just like a clever take on the doll touching.
I don't know.
motif.
I actually did think it was a little cheap and just like not making fun of a traumatic thing, but not so far away from that.
But you
and
hate
I-
kids. I would think you would be.
You're right. I do. You know what? I like it now. They should have beat the shit out of the doll.
Gabe?
I just felt like a lot of the gags in this episode, like it just took a long time to kind of set up and without much payoff, and it was like, did
that's
we
true.
really need to spend that much time on this
I agree.
doll?
I wrote meh in my notes.
Meh.
They also make a reference. They garnish Homer's wages, and he goes, "I already give half my paycheck to my Vegas wife." That's weird that they brought that back for yet another episode.
Yeah,
Was
that
the
wasn't
season-
so bad though. That's just like
no,
a callback.
It's interesting.
Sort of funny.
No, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's
alright.
interesting to note that the Vegas wife is kind of a solid continuity thing now.
So yeah, Homer is waiting for the judgment, and the judge is saying like, it would be heartless to emancipate a child, and Homer's like, yes, and you thought I was a bad father before. I thought that was kind of dark. He thought he was winning, and he's like, I'm gonna punish you.
They did it a few
times.
times,
They did do it
where,
a few
where
times.
Homer is like explicitly threatening Bart. It's ugh.
Yeah, it was just there's a weird undercurrent in this episode.
Yeah.
Homer especially was just.
There was
Really
there was some,
nasty,
there was
yeah.
some
Nasty.
jerk ass Homer in here, like with his interactions with Tony Hawk. But this was kind of a darker iteration of that.
It was like
abusive
cruel
Homer.
Yeah, abusive Homer. That's what it is.
Which,
That's not
whatever,
jerk-ass.
like, I feel like jerk-ass Homer, like, it is what it is, but especially in an episode that's supposed to be about, like, how much he is, like, bummed that Bart's moving out,
Right,
like, that
it's just-
really doesn't work.
He just seems like he's constantly like, I'm gonna kill Bart. I'm gonna murder.
But it's also going back and forth with I miss Bart. I
Right.
want to play with Bart.
Yeah,
It was
it's
really just all over the place.
Really inconsistent. Yeah, Homer at the end, even like goes to attack the judge.
Yeah.
And he keeps
Why
saying,
you little?
Well, I didn't like when he's like, "Why you little?" to everybody, like
Yeah.
the court reporter. That went on too long.
Yeah.
But like, he's gonna attack a judge. He's just like really in bad form in this episode.
Like Jack and Hook, bad form.
Yep.
Or Peter, I don't know. Or,
Peter Pole.
Pete
Pete
Pole.
Pole.
Pete Pole, the murderer.
So Bart is successfully emancipated from Homer and Marge, and he tells Lisa that he rented a loft downtown, and I thought this was kind of funny,
I kind of like
actually.
this gag, yeah.
He says, Lisa says, "Do you even know what a loft is?" And he goes, "I assume it has some hay."
I like that line, yeah.
I thought that was funny.
To be honest, I'm still a little fuzzy on what a loft is.
Yeah, that's kind of why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really even know what a loft is.
I
I'm
always
30 years
assumed
old.
it was like the top floor of like one of those buildings, but I think it could just be like I started going in college, and right after college, a lot of our friends moved out of Manhattan to Williamsburg, right when that started becoming what it is today. And everybody, come to my loft, and I'd go, and it's like, this is just a big room.
Yeah, this is just like a...
It's like a warehouse. This is a loft. Where's the hay? It's literally what you think.
A loft apartment refers to large, adaptable open space, often converted for residential use.
Yeah, so that's what
There you
that
go.
actual
So it
meaning
makes sense.
is. But I always assume it has to be a
The
top
top
floor.
one.
Yeah, above.
Well, I think it can
Like a
also
barn
be an
loft.
upper story or attic in a building, directly under the roof. So there you go. That's the confusion.
We're both, right?
Okay, there we go.
This is a free podcast, folks, and you are learning so much.
Learning about lofts.
This is an episode about learning about lofts. Hey, we're talking about lofts here, and we're doing you two talking my bits.
You learn about lofts.
You're taking my bits from me too. Alright, so back to the Simpsons. So Bart is on his way out. He's loading up a cab with his stuff, and Marge is desperate to make him stay. Sidebar, actually, about Marge. She's not really a huge focus in this episode. Like, you think that she would be more upset that Bart is gone, and we never really see
You see
the
it when he
effect on
tries
her.
to leave in the
Yeah,
cab.
it's really just this scene.
And then that's it, yeah. You're
Interesting.
right, that could have been a great... Again, we were talking about how we like stories where there's an inciting incident and then the A, B, and C plot, or how do different characters react to this.
Yeah.
And last week's episode, our new least worst episode ever, was Halloween of Horror, the season 27 Halloween episode, and we were like amazed that that's exactly what it was. It was Lisa was afraid they had to cancel Halloween, and then it was how does Homer react to that? How does Bart react to that? So yeah, that would have been great. Bart leaves, lives on his own. You have three plots. How does Homer deal with it? How does Marge? And how does Lisa?
Yeah.
And how does
And
Bart?
how does Bart deal with
Yeah.
being on his own?
Yeah.
It writes itself, basically. You just wrote it.
And instead they do this Homer-Bart plot that goes nowhere, which I would have been fine with if it had any meat, but it didn't.
Yeah. But anyway, Marge is
It had as
desperate.
much meat as the meatloaf.
That's right. So Marge is desperate to make Bart stay, and she says, I'll let you curse in the house, everything except the big three. So what did you guys think of that?
All right. Well, my first thought was, what are the big
What
three?
are the
Might
big
be
three?
too. What are the big three?
I mean, I got the
versions?
two. I'm assuming.
Yeah, what's number three,
I'm
though?
assuming we're all on the same page.
The F word.
Let's do Family Feud style.
Okay.
All right, Gabe, you first. Give us one. What do you think is on the big three?
Well, first of all, true story. When I was little, I remember wondering what the F word was, and a friend of mine was like, "Oh, I know what the F word is." And I was like, "Well, what is it?" He goes, "The F word is." I can't even say it. He said the F word is flugger.
Flugger? F-L-U-G-G-E-R. Flugger?
I can't believe you said flugger on this podcast.
Flugger, you
We're gonna have to
guys.
get
It's like that
explained.
Flugger.
It's like the Dinosaurs episode where they had all the made-up curse
Yeah,
words.
yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
said smoo on TV. You can't say, oh, where's my flark? Smoo and flark are the dinosaur
So
curses.
flugger is my
Flugger,
vote
that's
for,
great. All right,
for
is
swear
it
word
up
number
there?
one. Give me flugger.
Dan?
Well, serious answers. Obviously fuck would be the
Fuck,
number
is it up
one.
there? Number one. Number
Yeah.
two, I'm going to say cunt.
Yeah, it has to be.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
I'm assuming
Oh,
that, if
okay.
anything, that's
Those
bigger
are the
than
two
fuck.
that I thought.
If anything, that's a worse curse word than
Yeah.
fuck. So
But it's kind of a... No, I was going to say it's kind of a deeper cut.
it's kind of a deeper gas.
Yeah.
Is gas offensive?
Yes, it is. I say it all the time to annoy Jangle.
All right, I'll cut it. I'll cut that. I'll cut that.
Yeah.
Cut all this.
That's for We After Dark.
No, so the third option was shit, but that doesn't seem
But that doesn't seem like one of the big.
I mean, you could because you can say that
maybe.
on FX. The Sons of Anarchy is all what the shit. And,
Yeah.
I also thought maybe cock.
I was kind of thinking like cocksucker or something like that.
You always kind of thinking cock.
Show me those penises, we listeners.
Yeah, cock and shit were the two I thought. it could be.
I thought shit was definitely one of the two,
What
like in
was
my
the-
mind.
Maybe it is
shit.
fuck
When I was a
shit.
kid, before cunt wasn't even a word to me.
Yeah,
until I was
that's
like 14,
what I mean
15.
when it was like it's deeper.
Yeah, when
It's like that's advanced swearing a little bit.
Yeah, when you're a kid, shit's a big one.
Yeah.
My grandma always would find shit in Boggle, and she would get the point because we weren't allowed to write it down.
Open up Boggle. Like, what is this shit?
I was always taking a shit in the Boggle.
Yeah. You're a troubled child, Jack.
All right, here's my real quick. Here's my cursing story as a kid. I learned cursing in summer camp, day camp at the YMCA day camp. I remember some kid, I think it was in second grade, he explained the concept. I didn't understand the concept of bad words. I was like, so what's a good...
How old were you?
7, 8, 6 maybe. So I remember even thinking, if there's bad words, there must be good words, and I started thinking of what good words were. And for some reason, I still remember couch was the first good word I could think of.
Couches are
That
pretty
is
good.
a great word, Jack.
But no, so he taught.
Couch, the anti-flugger.
So I think bitch. Maybe bitch is the third one. Bitch was the one he taught me. I think that was the first curse I learned. Anyway, he taught me what curse words were. These are bad words that you're not allowed to say. He explained the whole concept to me. So then I was alone. My mom, which was okay in the late 80s, early 90s, my mom left me and my sister in the car in the parking lot while she ran to pick up the dry cleaning or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's me and my sister in the parking lot of like this mall or shopping, mini mall, whatever. We're sitting in the minivan, and I just slide the door open of the minivan, and I just lean out and I just start yelling a bunch of curses. I just it felt like I could say it. My mom's not around.
Free.
So I just imagine what it would be like if you're walking through the parking lot and you just see a 7-year-old sticking his head out of sight, just going, bitch, fuck, shit, bitch, bastard.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, I can't remember if my mom called me or whatever, but I still have that memory of just sticking my head out, yelling these curses, and then now the thought of like what a bystander must have thought.
Nice.
So we're the third one. What do we think? We're
mystery.
consensus. Cock.
Well, so thinking about this made me think about the old George Carlin
N-word?
bit about
Yeah.
the 7 dirty words you can't say on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Which is piss, shit, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker.
Motherfucker should
So
count.
shit-
That's kind of a double.
I don't think it's piss.
Piss out my ears.
I think it might be shit, fuck, cunt. I think those are the big three.
I guess shit. Yeah.
I don't put shit there. I say shit all the time.
Yeah.
This guy's a piece of shit.
I guess shit is greater than bitch.
Well, bitch, you would sometimes hear on TV even then.
Yeah,
like it was
yeah.
kind of
was
not
coming
super frequent, but every now and then you would you'd pop one in. I feel like you didn't start hearing
Every now and then you pop a bitch.
As opposed to popping a shit.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I guess shit would be it. I mean, there's worse words that are like racial words, but those aren't. I guess they're
Right.
not considered curse
I don't think
words.
it's curse word.
Yeah.
It's just racial slurs.
It's a different kind of word you shouldn't say.
You don't like bang your thumb and yell out. Insert your favorite racial slur here. So Bart leaves, and we mentioned Homer was crying in the street. They did that really extended thing where we talked about it already. We see Bart moving into his apartment. I really liked. It was kind of like Mary Tyler Moore type thing where he throws his
like that
lucky
guy.
red cap up and it hits the ceiling fan and shreds immediately.
Now, as an owner of a lucky red cap that I like to wear,
that you wear to trivia.
that broke my heart.
You did gasp at that moment, and not like a funny. You were like,
I was telling you, I had the future vapors. I was like, I can't tell if he's ever had that hat after that episode. I hope it came back somehow. I hope it regenerated like Taylor or the 13th Doctor, Steve Urkel.
Yeah, so then that night, I think, Bart is laying alone.
Yeah, and that's again, if they went with this plot of Bart living alone, that's a great plot.
Well,
What's
just
it like
be
to be a
careful what you wish
10-year-old
for
boy
type
to
thing.
just be sleeping by himself in
Yeah,
a
you
scary
think
place?
you want this independence and being on your own, but then when you have it, you're like, oh shit, there's a scary rat thing.
The whole plot should have been playing off that, not just this one scene.
But I liked, I forget the context of how it came up, but it cuts to Milhouse instead. Oh, Bart's on the phone with Milhouse and talking about how great it is to live on your own, and Milhouse is like, yeah, that's great. And then his mom brings him puppy Goo Goo.
Yeah, it shows that he's happy to be dependent on his
Right,
parents.
exactly.
You like that?
I liked Puppy Goo Goo. I didn't like when he starts singing to it and it's like, fetch me a dream.
I was going to say
Puppy
that
Goo Goo.
seems to be you really don't like when Milhouse becomes too much of a pansy.
Well, that was fine because the contrast was with Bart.
Right.
Like, it made sense in there. But
grounded.
I just thought it went on too long. A lot of things in this episode just went on an extra beat. Like, this was extra beat alarm all over the place.
Damn it, Kate, we have to go back.
Is that an extra beat? Oh, I see.
It's just they're really loud today.
So he thinks he's gonna die. He rides the loft, and for some reason it doesn't go down. It goes up to the top floor, where he finds a bunch of cool teens and guys partying, including Tony Hawk, who was 40-something at the time, and Blink-182 were there, and it's just like...
What was their age again?
Goddamn nailed it. That was fucking brilliant. Very quick-witted. Good job. What did you think? Like Tony Hawk?
I'm serious. What was their age? How old were they?
Oh, they were probably like 30s.
23.
They were in their early 30s, I think, at that point. Tony Hawk like throws a business card at Bart, and then he's like, "Oh, that has my old number," and he like compels it to come back to him.
Yeah, was that like to show that he's very graceful?
I don't know what the fuck.
I don't know what that was, and it went on forever.
Yeah.
Like from this point on, the episode just like bends over itself to make Tony Hawk look cool.
Yeah,
to give him something
I hated
to do.
Bart saying, "Wow, skateboarding legend Tony Hawk."
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, was he? I think Tony Hawk's the one that said it. They go, "Hey, Blink-182," and it's just like cuts over, and like then they have the Blink-182 scene
they're,
where each of them has one
they
line.
each get
Exactly one line.
and
Yeah.
they didn't do a very good job. At least
No,
like when Aerosmith was on, I remember I don't know if they each got one line, but a few of them did.
Yeah.
And I remember them delivering it pretty funny. Like,
Yeah.
What's his face? Who's the one that looks like the Grandma Wolf? The main guy. What's his name?
Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler. I just blanked on him.
Looks like
He looks like
Like
Little
from
Red.
Little Red
Yeah,
Riding
he looks like
So he looks like a wolf dressed in a
as a
grandmother's
grandma. Yeah,
costume.
that's what he.
You know what? I see it.
Yeah. Anyway, he hello St. Louis.
Yeah.
Like, he does a great job, and the one that's with Miss Krabappel. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So Blink-182, they each have one line, and there was just the standard bad guest star cue
That's
card.
because Aerosmith was doing things in the episode. Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like friends
that's
with Mo, and like he's with
Well,
Mick
I
Krabappel.
like Blink-182.
This is literally, hey, it's
Yeah.
Blink-182,
Here
and
they
they
are.
each say their thing, and then we're done with
their
them.
lines weren't very funny, but they were doing the bad guest star cue card reading,
Yeah.
which fine, whatever. You got your Blink-182 in there. They only get one line each. Tony Hawk actually gets a lot of lines. He's not just a walk-on. He's one of those key
significant part.
guest stars,
Yeah.
and he's not. Unfortunately, I like the guy. He seems like a nice guy. His games are
Very-
too hard for me, but he wasn't very good. His voice acting, it was like watching,
not that great.
like De Niro read cue cards on SNL.
I thought, especially for an athlete, which who are typically not very good, I thought his like he was kind of expressive, but he was like rushing through every single line so quickly that it's like
It's like,
even hard to understand what
in
he's
his
saying.
head, he was smart enough to know how the line was
Right.
supposed to be read. He just didn't have the talent to, which, whatever, acting's hard.
Yeah.
He just didn't and the fact that he had so many
And they
lines,
gave him a
really
lot
made
to
it
do,
hurt.
yeah.
All his interactions with Homer, and yeah, you're right. He seemed to know how the line was supposed to be said, but it still came off as just.
Yeah. I kind of get Blink-182 were pretty popular at the time. Maybe they were on the downswing of their popularity. But this is like a big milestone event episode that apparently Fox hyped up very, very much. Is Tony Hawk like the best celebrity?
He's like he's not mainstream, right?
Like the 200th
like
episode.
my parents wouldn't have known who he was. They know who Steve Martin is.
Yeah, I was going to say the 200th episode, you had U2 and Steve Martin. Those are pretty big gets. Blink-182 and Tony Hawk seems like a little
Not
bit
so
of a step
much.
down. And
Yeah.
I'm not even a U2 fan.
Yeah, and they're generation specific. It's not as broad as Steve Martin or U2.
Right.
Well, I think from this point in the episode too, you get a lot of those really terrible like skateboardy slang jokes and that kind of stuff.
Real bad stuff.
And that's not 2003, right? That's more like 98, 99.
Yeah.
I mean, the show's always a little behind the curve, but
Yeah. It takes a long time to produce.
it does take 6 years to produce an episode.
They did. They started this one in 96.
The strain on
This
the
Blink-182
animators.
is going to be real big. And then Tony Hawk like motions to a webcam that's filming his party, which A, creepy Tony Hawk, and B, Homer is already watching the webcam for no reason. So
he said,
creepy Homer just watching Tony Hawk at home.
well,
he
he
didn't
did
know Bart was
justify
there.
it by saying he randomly came across it.
Oh,
while
did
surfing
they?
the web.
That
Well,
doesn't
it was a
justify
Casablanca
it to me.
spoofing. He goes,
Oh,
of
gosh.
all the web pages, I had to click this one.
Well, that doesn't even justify it necessarily.
Nah, I know.
It's just nothing. It's just bad on bad.
Just bad. Then again, Homer's going back and forth between missing Bart and being an awful dad who wants to beat Bart. But they have him where he's holding a baby, and he's just like, I don't even know what he thinks it's supposed to be.
I think he wanted to show, I guess,
it's
the
a bag of
judge
sugar.
that he was responsible. So he's been
Yeah.
carrying around a bag of sugar, like they make like high school kids do, or at least
Well,
they.
there's a bag of sugar.
I don't think-
see an egg because it's something that you have to really take care of.
I've literally never seen that
Yeah,
happen
I
in
don't- I
real
think
life.
it's only
and
a
I don't-
TV
I don't
thing.
know anyone who's done it in real life.
But
I
is
think
a
it's just
bag of
TV.
sugar that hard to take care of?
It's not the taking care of it.
You just
It's
have to, like,
you
schlep it
carry
around with you everywhere.
It's like, just the burden of
Like I get the
parenthood.
egg, even though again I've also never seen it in real life.
Yeah.
But I get the concept.
It was on Batman Beyond.
Anyway, he's showing off. He's saying, I've been trying to keep care of this sugar. And then you would think the joke would be, they ripped open, he did he broke it. I love that the joke goes in the complete opposite direction. It turns out he somehow just has a baby. Yeah. And I would have been fine with just that weird, like, how did he get a baby? Too. But they cut, and it's one of Cletus's babies, which would explain why the cops haven't been called or anything. Right. And they have the bag of sugar, and they think it's the baby. And then it goes on way too long.
It goes on way too long with them using like baby interchangeably with sugar.
Which
like,
makes
can
no
I
sense.
put some baby in my coffee? It makes absolutely no sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Again, I feel like they were trying to go for this weird Adult Swim, absurdist kind of humor and just not doing a very good job.
No, I didn't care for it. There's a long-ish scene where Bart keeps saying Tony Hawk, but that kind of made more sense.
It made sense. It didn't make me laugh.
Well, no, it didn't make me laugh either, but saying, hey, it's Blink-182, it is like pandering to the audience. This was like Bart trying to impress people at school. But still, I didn't need it. It was just like...
I kind of liked when Tony Hawk called him Brett, though.
That was funny. I
think
a big part of that was because of all the line deliveries. Tony Hawk did a good job with that. He's like, see you later, Brett.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right, so Homer, I guess, gets it in his head to beat Tony Hawk in skateboarding to win Bart's respect, which, again, if that was a part of the what is the nature of this Homer versus Bart episode, if it was about respect, then this would make a fitting climax, but it wasn't. It was just Bart doesn't want to be with you because you took all his money.
What's even the nature of reuniting the family? Like, Bart is officially emancipated by the judge. Yeah. How does he get re-emancipated?
I mean, there was something about he would give the winnings to Bart, so Bart gets all his money back, but
I guess
the core wasn't that Homer stole the money. It wasn't that Bart wanted the money. It was that the money was stolen, the principle of the thing.
It basically seems like Homer is skateboarding to win back his son.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Which, I don't know, again, makes sense in terms of the the Springfield Gorge, the very famous skateboarding. That was more he was trying to protect Bart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, that there was something, that's a completely different, that's not even Homer versus Bart
different
conflict. But at least, like, that makes sense where this is just like an excuse for Homer to go against Tony Hawk.
Right, that's exactly what it is.
Just
it doesn't make any fucking sense.
So empty and so stupid.
Well, and even worse, they spend so much time talking about, explaining the plan. Like, okay, here's your magic skateboard that you're going to use to do this, and then you're going to win the contest, and then Bart's going to love you again, and you're going to get all this money. They talk about all this, and then they do it.
And then it happens.
Just exactly how they lay it out.
And again, it doesn't make any sense why they would be reunited. There was a line I liked. Tony Hawk goes against Homer, and he goes, "You're going down, and then up, and then down, and then up. That's the rules." I like that.
That was all right. It was
play on "You're going down." It's a half pipe. It works.
But I want to talk about this magic skateboard thing because
me too.
Tony Hawk's here. Maybe they're forcing Tony Hawk on you, and you have to integrate him somehow. It makes sense that the end of the episode is then going to be Tony Hawk versus Homer, sort of. Not really. You could have made it make more sense, but it's here. Why do they have it so that Homer uses this magic skateboard where he doesn't even need to do anything? Then have it be Tony Hawk, the person who gave him the magic skateboard, gets mad that he's upstaging him, and then tries to outdo him.
Wasn't he throwing the fight? Wasn't he throwing the match?
It doesn't make any sense. Why can't you just have Homer try to do it for real? I don't know. Maybe he turns out he's really good at it or something. I don't know.
I wasn't even thinking about these story elements. You're 100% right. The thing I took out of that was this era. They really seem to have these wacky plots where Homer gets this isn't, like season 5 Homer goes to space. Sure, that's not grounded, but it still makes sense.
And they do a lot of legwork in that episode to make it make sense.
But this era had a lot of this stuff, specifically the magic device, because it really reminded me of Lisa's tap shoes. They give her tap shoes that magically can tap. Some kind of, an invention that doesn't really work in the real world, but serves the story. Like, how is she going to win this tap dancer? How is he going to win the skateboard? So it's the exact same product, and I feel like this era of the show, the Purgatorio era, is doing a lot of this. And literally, you said what I wrote in my notes. You said that you used the same terminology, a magic skateboard, and magic tap shoes. It almost it reminds me of the Flintstones having the Great Gazoo. It's just this weird, wacky. That's not what the show. I don't mind the show being wacky. I don't mind Homer going to space or Bart's Comet, the stuff that wasn't.
Deep Space Homer wasn't wacky though. It was very grounded.
But season 7, season 8, season 6, they were wackier than the earlier seasons, where it theoretically could have still been a real.
I mean, if you think the Homer They Fall, Homer has this condition that makes him a perfect punching bag.
Yeah, exactly. The harder core of Simpsons fans who say the show jumped a shark in season 4.
Yeah.
I like that wackiness. The David Merkin type of wackiness.
Right.
This is just ridiculous.
Well, this is is just like random plot device wackiness.
Yeah,
It's like this is the exact same thing, or the exact one thing that we need to move this story forward. Is that for some reason a magic skateboard?
Magic
like,
skateboard.
okay, let's
That's
go
what
with
we
it.
need because Homer can't learn skateboarding.
Right.
Ugh. Stupid, terrible.
Just because now I'm so angry. Just a thing that I did like was right before that actually happens, the announcer says, and now the portion of the event where anyone can challenge
like
Tony
that.
Hawk.
Which again makes sense because you need it for the plot and why does it happen.
But that's funny because
you're calling it out.
Exactly. Yeah. I just like that.
I actually liked, story-wise, I didn't like it because it didn't make any sense and it was unsatisfying. But if out of context, I like the idea of using the Crouching Tiger parody for the skateboard, like the drums, the music. It all worked for me, and it was an organic movie parody. Like if you're gonna do the skateboard battle, it made sense. The Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon way of doing it was an interesting way to act it out. That made sense compared to earlier the Casablanca parody, which was out of nowhere. It just let's say the line and play the piano music, and kiss is just a kiss. Like
this is at least a physically active thing. There's people in the air.
It was more organically integrated, so I appreciate that. I'm trying to give it some points.
Still wasn't funny though.
It wasn't funny. It wasn't funny, but there is a way to integrate a movie parody. It's supposed like right now we're doing we're integrating the movie parody of Stealth with the Stealth and the Quiet. What's a famous helicopter?
I was gonna say like Airport
famous
75
helicopter
or something.
movie. Are there any great helicopter movies?
It's that great helicopter show with Dana Carvey.
What was it?
What was it? We had a running joke for months.
Yeah, I don't remember.
What was it? Laughtron.
Laugh Command.
Laugh Command. Yeah, Jesus. We haven't done that in forever.
No, we haven't. We forget our bits a lot. We have a lot of bits.
Yeah. What was it?
You never forget Hemus.
We don't, unfortunately.
I come back every time. See you in the deleted scenes, folks.
No, it wasn't funny, but my point is at least you can see the difference in this one episode between an integrated movie parody and here's a non sequitur for no reason. So just to sum up the story, like the story just kind of ends. It just they reunited and there's no impetus for it. There's no motivation. It's just par for the whole course of the whole episode.
I don't even remember who wins. Does Homer win against Tony Hawk? Does it matter?
And then he gives the money to Bart. I think that's what wins Bart back over.
Well, but that's not what wins back Bart over.
Because where'd the money come from?
Because then Lindsay Naegle just walks in and says, "You should be in a commercial" to Homer.
Oh, that's
and Homer's going to be in a commercial and give
He's
that
going to
money
give that
to Bart.
money to Bart. Yeah.
Which that
full circle
sort of makes sense because it's full circle. Yeah, it's a commercial.
It's a bit of a stretch.
A bit of a huge stretch, but I don't remember. I don't even know if it was explained. Why is Homer now in a commercial? Homer's not anything. He's not an actor.
He beat Tony Hawk
with a magic skate. Apparently, anyone can beat him. He's got a magic skateboard. Why is Tony Hawk not selling magic skateboards?
Why isn't he using a skateboard? Wouldn't he be really
living high on the hog if he's using his magic skateboard?
Oh goodness!
Instead, he makes that crappy game that came with a very non-magic skateboard.
I almost bought that. I think my brother did buy it.
Homer is offered this commercial apropos of nothing, just out of nowhere, and he does it, and it is a pill called, I think it was
Viagrain.
Is that what it was?
Viagra and Rogaine.
Rogaine, yeah.
Oh, that makes so much more sense than what I thought it was.
Genius writing.
Okay.
to combine the beginning of one word and the end of another word.
Yeah.
Gabe, are you taking notes for your show?
Like free tips.
Are you going to pitch that in the writer's room tomorrow? Guys, I have this great idea.
What? Wait, I already forgot what it was.
Viagrain. Okay.
All right.
The only thing that was good about it was it said at the very end of the commercial the side effect. It was a hair regrowing thing that also gave you erections, and at the end it said it may cause your scalp and penis to fall off.
Great Harry Shearer delivery, just crush it. Maybe make all your
and that was it.
Low. Also, I did like he goes, you would be a perfect spokesman for bald, impotent men, and Homer goes, I'm bald and important. I like that.
I missed that.
I like that. The impotent went over his head. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
But that was it. I mean. It ended the way it began, with a wet fart. Not with a bang, but with a whimper.
It really was just 22 minutes of whimper.
You're going down, Homer, then back up, then down, and back up again. That's how the game is played.
Okay, so that is it for Barting Over, and now it is the time of the show where we are going to rank the episode with our very, very scientific Hippo scale, looking at the humor, the integrity, the production values, and the originality of the episode on a 0 to 5 scale that we average out to find out where this episode ranks on our master list.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I'm picturing the plane overhead, like the pilot going, and if you look on your left, we studios.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're coming in for a better look.
We're part of the tour. We're going to need to go out and wave to everyone.
The bus stop down the street.
Yes, there is! I'm outside!
So anyway, back to this.
So let's just do it. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock.
Beep, bop.
There it is. And we're talking about the humor of this episode. Gabe, what do you think?
I didn't think it was that funny. I mean,
Really? Based on the conversation.
I did not.
I'm shocked to hear you say that. Yeah, so on a 0 to 5 scale, where do you think that places? 2.5 is average.
1.5 maybe.
I was thinking 1.
I was also thinking 1, so there that is. A couple of laughs. That's a 1, right?
Yeah, a couple of laughs is a 1.
All right, the integrity of this episode. So that is just, what do we think there?
Well, Homer was constantly threatening violence.
Homer was very much not just jerk ass, but like
he was
sociopathic.
He
Violent
was sociopathic compared to where he was just
mood swing jerk ass.
He was jerk ass Homer when he interacted with Tony Hawk, and like he wouldn't just step on the magic skateboard. He made Tony Hawk pick him up.
We didn't even talk about that.
Like, don't give me attitude.
That whole scene was awful.
Like, you're trying to win back your son. Like that's quintessential jerk ass Homer.
Yep, I agree.
1.
I'd go 1.
I don't have a reason to not go 1, so I'll also go 1. The production values of the episode. How did it look? How did it sound?
I like the crouching tiger.
I mean, it was
like
fine.
the demon coming out of the Necromonicon.
I did
nice.
like that.
Yeah.
I did like that.
I thought some of the elevator stuff and like the stuff in the loft, like with the rat and all that. I think there's some kind of okay stuff
there was
there.
Some good stuff there. Nothing groundbreaking. But
I feel like this could be a little high, but I'll say 3. I'll give it.
I'll say 2.
I'm gonna go right down the middle and say 2.5. And finally, the originality of this episode. What do we think there, Gabe? What do you got?
Well, I would say 1 maybe. 2. I mean, it was original in that you couldn't have predicted that it was going to involve a magic skateboard by the end.
That's true. That's very true.
The plot I like. Bart emancipates himself because, again, you have a great story where what's it like for Bart on his own, and you have a great character conflict between Homer and Bart or the rest of the family. But they didn't do that.
No.
So for the originality, it's a good score. But we also consider structured storytelling in this category.
And how well Tony Hawk fits into this battle
which was not
father versus son.
Yeah.
Which is not well.
Yeah. 2? That might even be high.
I'm thinking 1.5, 2. I'm gonna go 1.5 since you went 2, and I didn't like this episode.
I might go back down in production because I consider the voice acting.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And Tony Hawk was a nice guy, but he dropped the ball.
Look, we all like Tony Hawk. No one's disparaging the
Not
Hawk.
me.
Okay, Gabe does not care.
Got it out for him.
Okay, so we have crunched our numbers, and Season 14's Barting Over has ranked as a slightly better episode than Lucas, and a slightly worse episode than Homer and Ned's Hail Mary Pass. So that places it at number 15 on our current list. Homer and Ned's Hail Mary Pass, not a great episode.
Yeah.
Lucas, not a great episode.
It's funny because I'm always
think
just
that's a fitting spot.
Yeah, and we have so many episodes now. Again, it's kind of crazy. We're almost close to our 60 victory. But now the fact that you can be such a bad episode and still be 15 from the bottom, it just says a lot.
It does. It
says a lot.
It sure does, Jack. Got that. I don't know what that is.
Dave Matthews.
She wakes up in the morning. Anyway, that is it for this episode of Worst Episode Ever. Thanks for listening. If you like the show, please share it with your pals, with your goombas, with your paisanos. And we want to thank Gabe for being our guest today, so thanks very much for being here,
My
Gabe.
pleasure.
We'll have you back if you'd like to be back. I don't know, maybe this was torture.
This is it.
Fuck this.
One and done.
We always tell our guests, it'll be quick and easy. 4 hours later.
It never is. It never is. So thanks for listening. Check out our website. It's weepodcast.com, weepodcast.com. While you're there, you can click through our Amazon links. Like we said, get that Christmas shopping
important.
done.
Get your Christmas shopping done through us.
Especially if you want to support the show. If you also want to support the show and you haven't listened to it yet, you can get our Simpsons movie commentary track, Sync Points #1, the first in our hope-to-be series of movie commentaries.
We might be starting up our second one soon.
Yes, we might be. So check that out. That's at weepodcast.com, as are our Facebook, Twitter links. Our subreddit is a lot of fun, so check all that out.
Also, we'll probably have a link on our website to, you might have already heard if you follow us on social media, we had an interview with the Village Voice. Yeah, so if you want to check out, we talk about The Simpsons and is basically what went wrong 15, 16 years ago. So that was really fun and exciting for us.
Definitely.
So check that out. It's I'm sure you could. If you don't want to navigate their website, we'll have a quick, easy link.
Google it. Yeah, if you go to our website, it'll probably be in our About
I'm sure we're telling
section.
everybody about it.
Yes.
So
just find us personally, and we'll tell you about it.
It's pretty cool. It's just
Yeah,
one of the coolest things I've ever Done.
And if you want to follow us personally on Twitter, I'm at ThenDanSays.
I'm at Jackie No Breaks. And Gabe, do you do
I
the
do
Twitter?
not. No.
No tweets.
Don't do the Twitter.
Do you do Snapchat?
I do the Snapchat. But
Is that like a new dance? Like, do
do Snapchat.
I like that you made little claw hands.
Snapping, I guess. I don't know.
Sometimes I wish this was a video podcast. So people can see your Snapchat.
Look, do the Snapchat.
Casey Kasem comes out, even though he's dead, and he's just like, let's do the Snapchat. That's an obscure reference to the Sprain episode of
Very
Saved by the
obscure.
Bell. Do the Sprain!
Vincent Price.
Do the Sprain! Casey Kasem, he plays like, oh, I just came up with this on the spot.
Yeah.
The Sprain. Anyway.
Save it for the bill. And if you're in the Brooklyn area, you can come to Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia. That is the first Thursday of every month. It's going to be December 3rd. If you're listening to this before December 3rd, come out. I host that with friend of the show, Dan Ozzie. That's in Berry Park in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. There are other trivia nights throughout North America, so Google Woohoo Classic Simpsons Trivia. Find out more about that in your area. Next week, we're going to come back. We're going to do another show. It's going to go real quick. We're going to stay on topic. There won't be any funny voices. And we are going to be watching Season 22's Donnie Fatso.
Ooh, even from that amazing title, I expect it to be a great one.
Yeah, Donnie Fatso. So come check that out. Watch that on Simpsons World. Get ready. And in the meantime, we are going to close the show as we normally do.
With our cut all thises. And
is how we normally close
is that the plural of cut all this? Our cut all this?
Cut all these.
Cut all theses. And this week, our guest Gabe is going to be doing a cut all this. So, Gabe, let us have it.
Cut all these.
Balky, you're dancing in the toilet.
What, you never heard the flush dance?
Perfect Strangers will return after these commercials.